All right, we are here. Wednesday night is overbooked. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. As we already had someone in the chat earlier today. Show that right now. And the Maniacs dropping by to show some love. Can't join us. He will be on Cap's podcast at this time. But have a great stream. Be sure to be sure to catch the rewatch then. Thank you very much for stopping by. So to my stage right, we got Mr. LeftEyeEgo. How are you, sir?
Doing good, man. Ready to talk some Survivor Series. Let's do this.
All righty. Brad, Mr. Duke Devil, is bringing his dogs into his house, so he's not available at the moment. So we'll come back to him. But Mr. Rehab Refugee Matt, still in rehab with the really good drug.
I think Brad. See, Brad, I had a theory. I thought you were really going to run into the ring in AEW here and save this gimmick, this horrible spot they're doing, which is predictable.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Duke Devil 95, how are you, sir?
We'll find out how bad I sound right now.
You sound fine so far.
Pretty good, man.
Okay, just checking.
All righty, and then back to Matt. How are you, sir?
Still healing. I mean, my hip is good. I think my hip is about good enough to go home. Been doing the therapy. I got some infection stuff going on. That's normal, allergies. But so far I've survived this rehab.
Gotcha. So before we get into Survivor Series, we're going to talk a little AEW. They've been in the news this week as Kenny Omega had an interview with Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful and drew some interesting comments and whatnot. And actually, Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer this was his take on what Kenny Omega said.
Why in God's name is Kenny Omega's big return on a New Japan show? Not only was Kenny Omega's big return on a New Japan show, okay? He shot an angle on the New Japan show. He set up a match on a New Japan show. And he literally did a promo that he said, while I am under contract to AEW, New Japan has the best wrestling in the world, and I consider it my home. Like, what are we doing?
Taking it way
Tony's fine with that?
Okay, so
hold on really quick, Matt, and then we'll get to this. For those of you who do not know who Kenny Omega is one of the founders of AEW. Matt, if you can give us a 10-second description of Kenny Omega, please.
Top 20 wrestler all time ever.
Okay.
And does have a habit of getting hurt at inconvenient times.
Gotcha. Now, to be fair to him, he is recovering from
diverticulitis.
Yeah, and
which is the worst one.
From what it sounds, that just sounds absolutely. I mean, we have two folks in the medical field here, so Ego, perhaps you can give us a brief explanation of what that is.
Dude, it's like an inflammation of the colon, I think. Like, I don't know if it's small or large intestine. I think it's large intestine. Sometimes it gets twisted around. All I know is they have to go in there. They have to kind of either untwist it or cut it out and then put the rest together. I know it's the thing that Brock Lesnar had it. Like,
it's what ended his MMA career.
Yeah, like they really got to go in there and either move things around or cut it out and stitch things together. It is a bitch to recover from.
I've known some people that have had it, and they said it's extremely painful and does take a lot of time to recover from.
Right.
Yeah.
So okay. So this brings into the question: what is wrong with AEW? What is wrong with AEW?
Nothing.
So here's
hold on. We got some comments. Angel of Darkness says hello. It says also that is true. I was an EMT, and with the wrench right there, we got Mr. Jacob Ironside. What's up, Jacob? How are you, sir? Okay, so real quick, we're talking about like two revenue streams here. We've got the streaming, and then we've got the live attack, and it's numbers. And a lot of folks, they conflate the two. So, Matt, on the streaming side, please explain.
AEW currently has two relatively huge contracts, Fox and okay, put it in perspective. AEW is still a small wrestling company. Okay,
correct.
That's what the house shows when the house shows don't sell out or whatever. They're slightly better off than TNA basically in terms of crowd sizes. But TNA has more consistent crowd sizes. They have 20 plus year history of it, and so in terms of they're a small wrestling company, but because they put on good matches, they've hit, and because wrestling on the streaming side, dollars for donuts, however you want to say it, is one of the cheapest content you could produce for
a game show.
Yeah,
like game shows.
So their streaming side contracts, you can't TNA, TV, Warner can't get enough of them to fill spots. Okay, and the reason you have to understand it is, have you guys? I learned this from the rehab. You guys ever watch TNA and TNT and USA and all these channels now? They used to have original programming years ago. Now they just spend 15 hours a day showing you Law and Order, 911, game shows, and whatever. And people would rather watch old wrestling matches than that all the time. So TNA, not TNA. Warner wants more of wrestling content constantly from them. So
right, and that might have something to do with them losing the National Basketball
exactly
Association.
But also on top of that, I don't know if you guys caught it. Comcast is selling off all of their channels.
Yeah.
And that's that process. I'm predicting right now, 25 years from now, 10, 20 years from now, TNT and TBS won't exist anymore. USA won't exist. Oh, they're just going to be providers, and there's going to be some streaming services. And we'll be watching wrestling on either a broadcast channel or a streaming service.
Right.
And
that's true.
That's that. Which will have interesting effect for other wrestling companies that might get more streaming opportunities because of that change. That's all a separate issue. Now, going back to this Kenny Omega thing, okay? So you guys, obviously, I'm just saying, so you're not following the storylines. AEW has some very shaky kind of long-term storytelling concepts. Like for example, for internal reasons, the corporation, their version of the corporation, which is the Elite, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Mercedes Moné,
Okada,
right? Yeah.
Okada, and Jungle Boy.
Jungle Boy. Yeah, they basically broken the Elite up. The Young Bucks, and not only did they drop the title, they held for 400 days to first clad, not first clad. What the hell are they? I hate the teams. That's why I don't name.
Oh, they're called the they used to be called the Blackpool Combat Club. Now they're called the
not the Combat Club. The two First Party or whatever they're called. And they shook their hand. The Young Bucks have been heels for like 20 years, and they shook these guys' hands. Private Party. They shook their hands in the ring, and now the Young Bucks, by according to what we hear, the behind the teams will be away from wrestling for any regular storylines for quite a while.
Right, okay? And so as we have said, I think part of the problem is when AEW first started, it started off like gangbusters because it was the true alternative to WWE. But then again, you were going to book, you were booking matches against 2019 Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
who was out of his mind. So the booking matches was easy, and you also had someone who knew how to book matches, who knew long-term storytelling in Cody Rhodes. And then you also brought in CM Punk, and then you made a show specifically for CM Punk. That was Collision.
Yeah.
I believe Cody Rhodes left, and then they got rid of CM Punk, which they had to get rid of CM
Yeah.
Punk. They
did.
They absolutely had to.
He's a cancer. He is a human social cancer.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
We can talk about that in just a bit, but as far as from AEW, went, there was disruption in the locker room.
Okay.
And as every company goes, it all starts at the top. It starts with Tony Khan. Now, as far as the creative goes, Tony Khan needs to hire a creative and someone. Someone wants to be Rhea Ripley. Well, I think someone from the House of Black already beat you too.
I think Rhea Ripley is being Rhea Ripley.
Right, exactly. So, and he needs to hire someone who can take the creative, because Tony Khan can put together a great match. There's no doubt about that. The guys are wrestling encyclopedia, but he's not a creative. Now, funny thing is, someone who you would have thought would have been someone he reached out to, well, Scott D'Amore was seen at the Performance Center last week he just stopped in for a visit. Now, Ego, do you know who Scott?
I have no idea who the hell he is. I was holding on to saying that. I didn't want to interrupt, but yeah, I have no idea who the hell this guy is.
Okay, Matt, please let us know who Scott D'Amore is.
Long-time wrestling booker. Has worked all over the place. I can't. If you're asking me his specific credits right now, I don't remember them all offhand.
He is the one who was responsible for the start of the partnership between NXT and TNA.
Well, he's built the modern TNA.
Correct.
He has a history way before that. Way before that, you know. And by the way, before we get away from this, so the Shane McMahon AEW rumors are real.
They are real.
Not for him to wrestle, because Shane wants to prove he can manage a wrestling company without his dad.
God.
You know, whether you think that's now, I don't know if Tony Khan took that. It was Shane reaching out to him. It wasn't Tony Khan. It was a courtesy call by Tony Khan. It wasn't. So Shane was like saying, "I made an offer." Now, the Vince offer to run AEW, whatever, that wasn't real. That was being pushed by what's his face, the jerk,
Meltzer.
Not Meltzer. The one from Mr. The Push from WCW.
Bischoff?
Eric Bischoff.
Bischoff, yeah, Bischoff and the other. Anyway, so now the fix for AEW is to get a competent writing team in there that can take these great wrestling storylines and put them in order. Whether that's going to happen anytime soon, don't know. You know?
Now, so that's one revenue avenue. The other that gets mentioned a lot is the live attendance. And as far as the TBS and TNT viewership, it is on a downward slope year over year. Just as an example, last week on Dynamite, they were in a 10,000 seat arena, and they had barely 1,800 people in there. And so they were trying really hard to black out a lot of the audience, and you could clearly hear someone when Moxley was cutting a promo. You could hear someone say, clear as day, "Go back to Roman." So
Now,
another thing that something that AEW is planning on doing, which is the smart thing to do, because AEW they had their boom, and now they're kind of leveling to where they really are. They're a cut above a indie promotion, which is really what they are. And we saw this. AEW is expected to run shows in smaller buildings in 2025.
Smart.
This is the smart thing to do, because they had a
Yeah.
show coming up next month that was scheduled to be in Columbus, Ohio. It got canceled, and they moved it to the convention center during a Comic-Con, and are barely moving like 1,000 seats.
which,
that.
to be honest, is about what they should be being a 5-year-old wrestling company.
Correct.
Okay, and what they need to do is leverage their better, higher streaming level of I guess you would say presence, with the level of talent to grow the audience and the crowd, so to speak, over the long term. What AEW really needs now, though, is like almost every AEW guy you think of is who have had wrestling careers elsewhere. They need some now. They've been 5 years in. They need some homegrown AEW big names start showing up.
Correct.
The closest thing they have to that right now is Swerve Strickland, and he had a career before that, but he wasn't big. You know, so he's big now in AEW. And why I understand the Hangman Adam Page feud, why they took the title away so they could finish their feud in their old heel face inversion. But now the title needs to go back on Swerve. He's the guy, and he has charisma. He has an easy chance. The crowds love him. You know, they're putting him in this stupid feud with the Hurt Locker, whatever the hell they're called.
Hurt Syndicate. There's another thing. There's another thing.
You know, and I like Bobby Lashley in the ring, but they're a mid-card team. You know, Swerve should raffle stomp them and get back to he's legit. Swerve Strickland is legit a top 10 guy in the ring right now. You know,
and also you shouldn't market yourself as the alternative to WWE when you just pick up when you just grab WWE wrestlers when their contract is over
and rename them.
And
you said, the Hurt Syndicate,
the Hurt Syndicate,
and also the CEO,
right?
Formerly the boss,
right? So AEW's problems, like I said, started when Cody Rhodes left. They got magnified when CM Punk left. Now, as much as they had to get rid of CM Punk, they should have had a plan in place to weather that storm. That's just my thought.
No, you're right. I mean, fundamentally, AEW needs to fix their long-term. They got in-ring guys who can put the show on. They need storytelling. They need longer. They need to develop their own guys for that next level of success. Like whenever we think of, for example, Samoa Joe, I think of Ring of Honor. Now, yes, he owns Ring of Honor technically now, but it's old Ring of Honor. I think Ring of Honor in TNA. Yeah, he was the best champion they've ever had in AEW. You know, so you got to factor that sort of stuff in. I mean, look, the reality is it's making money, so hopefully they'll have a couple years to sort that crap out. And WWE is fixing itself with a few problems that I hate saying this. They need to fire 75% of the main roster women and 25% of the men have to go back to the Indies where they belong.
Well, there's that. And as far as WWE goes, there are two folks who are on leave right now. One is Bruce Pritchard. So whenever you see those shots in the back, that guy sitting next to Paul Levesque, that is leave fitting. He is the guy who took over Kevin Dunn's spot, who was in charge of all the cameras and production. And Michael Hayes, who does backstage, works with the talent backstage, is also a producer, and is mainly responsible for doing the producing for the anything involving Roman Reigns. And since he has been out, that job has been taken over and been getting highly praised by one Bobby Roode.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's a shame. Shame he had that injury. Because, although I think he would have been well liked enough by Vince not to be shoved to the side. You know.
Yeah.
It
So-
still kills me how much money Vince lost by not pushing Samoa Joe. Everything he wanted in Roman Reigns, he could have 6 years earlier with Samoa Joe.
Easy.
True story.
So,
Okay.
hey,
So,
before we wrap that up, just real interesting. Did you see the quote from Kenny Omega when he was asked about all this? I found it in Newsweek. You may have seen it elsewhere. So he says, and I'm sure naturally the next question is, why not AEW first? About going yeah. That is a company I helped create. That is a company I'm contracted to. It makes sense. It's tough to answer because why not AEW? There's nothing wrong with AEW at all. I mean, if you watch any of the episodes of our TV recently, everything is flowing like clockwork right now.
I do not think
that is
okay. I personally don't believe he believes that.
No,
He doesn't.
No, he still has investment in the company though.
Right.
He is still an executive vice president along with the Young Bloods and
Jack Barry.
I mean, it's the same thing as when The Flash came out and James Gunn said it was the best comic book movie he's ever seen.
But the other thing to remember there, Brian.
Brad.
Brad. I remember the people's names. I'm so delirious right now. The other thing to remember is part of what Kenny Omega said is kayfabe because he's talking about the breakup of the Elite. The Elite and their iron control over AEW is gone.
Well, because that's a storyline that they started and then stopped.
Yeah,
and it started with dropping Tony Khan on his head and then him wearing a neck brace to the NFL draft and looking like a clown. But but then you've also got. But I was going to mention this where he said, there's really no place for me right now, Kenny. You're one of the top wrestlers in the world. If you decide to go back to AEW, I'm pretty sure that they will move the Commander versus Hologram match to Rampage and put you on the main stage. I'm pretty sure
you're Kenny Omega. You make your own destiny. I mean, he doesn't need someone there.
He's still fairly young. He's like 40 years old.
Yeah. So, moving over to the WWE. Now, there have been some complaints of the last couple weeks with the multitude of taped shows. Thus, we've been getting spoilers out on the internet to upcoming Raw and SmackDown. Well, this is because Paul Levesque, having gone through the grind, is deciding, you know what? I'm going to let my talent spend more time with their families, and if that means that we have to do some more tape shows, so be it. So
what a foolish idea.
I know, it's awful. It's so mean.
And actually, that's a nice segue out of AEW because that is something the AEW contract give them all that time off. And
Correct.
Paul knows and he wants to move that. That's a good band. He wants to move that into the WWE contract.
Right. So if you don't want spoilers, okay, just stay off of social media for a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, for Mr. Ego here,
Mhm.
we're going to talk about this upcoming premium live event, Survivor Series, as there are still a lot of questions that need to be answered still, as we've only got 3 matches that are confirmed, and this will probably be a 5-match card. Ego, what other 2 matches would you like to see?
It's gonna be a tougher one for me just because it can go in any direction for me. I would like to see, for no reason other than, and I guess there's really no build up for it, I would like to see Gunther versus CM Punk. I don't know if y'all have seen it before. That's something that I would like to see, just by booking this fantasy wise. And
that'll come later.
Okay, I know. I just,
Down the road.
yeah, it's like I'm being selfish and I'd want it now, so I do that.
Tony Khan, folks. Tony Khan, here we go.
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, okay? I'm used to impulsive GMs, okay?
Jesus.
Oh, God.
I apologize.
So are we talking Survivor Series style matches or any match, or just adding matches to the card?
To the card.
So it doesn't have to be the 5-on-5s. Okay.
I got one.
I you know what? Let's just do this. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair.
They're
already wrestling,
but they're already in a match.
They're war games.
I don't. That's what
What match would you add to the card?
The only one I can think of off the top of my head with this is Gunther and CM Punk.
But Gunther is wrestling Damien.
I know. I don't see a point in it. That's what I'm saying. It's
because
like
Damien gets his rematch.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
Triple threat it. Throw CM Punk in there.
We're going to talk about Punk in this.
Okay, I know. I'm just like looking at this like this card isn't really giving me anything, and as much imagination as I've had, that's all I can come up with. There's too much up in the air, and there's too much that they're holding up on this.
All right,
well,
Brad,
before I started watching, before we started streaming, I was watching, I think it was FX or TNT, and Solo was on for some reason, which, has many issues, but it's Star Wars. And I would like to see a Sith Lord fight a knight. Shinsuke versus LA Knight, since that was clearly set up last week. And he is a Sith Lord.
You know what you could do for this to liven it up? I keep calling for it. One more Shinsuke Nakamura AJ Styles match before they get too old.
That's why
if you haven't watched Wrestle Kingdom 10, it's the greatest wrestling match of all time. Is Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, not only for the storyline that led into it, but for what they put on in that ring. And they came close with their two WCW matches, WWF matches, a couple years later. But just before they get too old, get that match one more time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What's AJ doing now, though?
Not much. Well, he's got.
Well, then they could do something early next year.
Well, he has a bone thing in his foot. He's got a.
Okay.
He has a break in his foot.
But I mean, the LA Knight versus Shinsuke would give a championship match. It was teased last week when Shinsuke came out, as I say, dressed like a Sith Lord and knocked the hell out of LA Knight,
which I liked. And I harken back to a few weeks ago when we were doing the triple threats and Carmelo Hayes' name came up, and I said next US champ. Well, then I heard that if he does become a champion, he wants to bring back the spinner belt, so that disqualifies him from ever being a champion again. So no,
messed it up.
Nope, not gonna happen. Okay, Matt, throw out a match that you would add onto this card.
You mean other than Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles?
Yes. Yes.
Let's see. Who's not wrestling? Who could be entertaining?
A lot.
Well, the qualifiers who could be entertaining in a throw together match.
I have an idea, but go on.
Well, I mean, it would be a great match, but there's no storyline for it. The Demon Prince Balor versus Kevin Owens.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be fun.
That'd be a nice match.
Yeah.
Now, as far as a storyline goes, a storyline match, the story is starting to brew. It's developing some heat, and it's made a faction far more interesting than they've ever been. I would like to see a traditional Survivor Series elimination match, the Final Testament versus the Wyatts.
Ooh, that would give them something. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That could be good.
That'd be fun.
I mean, the only problem with that is I feel like the Wyatts hit hard to begin with, and have now become like mid-card trash.
Well, they're kind of a special attraction now. I mean, that's what they're going to be used very, very sparingly.
Well, I agree. I'm just saying used sparingly, but they have to do other bad things. When's the last time they wrecked the broadcast center or whatever?
Well, they're not heels. They're not heels. They're baby face.
They need to be anti-heroes.
They need to be
That's
like
really
a
what
force
you
of
need.
a force of
Yeah.
nature.
Correct.
Like when the Wyatts roll in, bad stuff just happens. Not
Right.
because they're bad guys,
Yeah.
because
It's
bad,
just,
you know.
just
Yeah, it's a tornado. It has no
Yeah.
control. It just causes havoc.
the
Yeah.
collateral damage. So also, I think a match that we might get. It's been teased. It's been talked about. We haven't heard anything of it on TV yet, so I've got nothing to confirm this about. But an unsanctioned match. Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens.
Ooh,
It'll be good.
All right. All
they're
right.
building
wait.
something there.
I just came up with a Wyatt spot. Okay.
Mhm.
So you remember when Rhea and Dom went and ruined Thanksgiving at Ray's
Yeah,
house?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Have Dom and the rest of them show up to ruin Thanksgiving again, but they get repelled. And all of a sudden, in the back, and you just see the Wyatts come out and destroy the house.
That's possible.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
So as far as the matches that, well, at least the marquee matches, we have one of them that is now completely set, as I gave the spoiler last week. The women's War Games match, which I don't think needs to be in War Games. We have the bad girls of the women's world champion, Liv Morgan, with Raquel Rodriguez, Candice LeRae, along with Miss Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton, and the WWE Women's Champion, Nia Jax, versus the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Bianca Belair, and whatever her partner is. Who cares? Naomi and her butt finisher. Nobody cares. The greatest in-ring wrestler, female, maybe male as well, Io Sky, and Phantom of the Opera, Rhea Ripley now. Which I hate those masks because, yes, I mean they're to protect that orbital bone, which she cracked by delivering a headbutt a few weeks before. So what does Rhea do when she comes into the ring?
Boom.
She delivers a headbutt.
Well, see,
Why not?
I like when they split that. So, like when they had Lex Luger in the bionic forearm because he had the pins in there, so he tried to hit the guy with it. Like I like when that's and you have to like let it go because it's an injury or whatever,
Right.
you know. And when the Undertaker had the mask on for like what 6 months or whatever he had it on, so he's constantly face slamming into people, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But Rhea has the gimmick and personality to smash you with the face mask.
Yeah,
Fair.
she does. Now, as far as this match goes, I kind of think the heels need to win. I think this is a match that they need to win for the reason, not only other reason that the baby faces have won the last 2 years in a row.
Okay. Yeah.
And now this is interesting because last year they teased this. It didn't happen, but they teased because last year it was the Judgment Day with Drew McIntyre versus Sammy, Cody, Seth, Jay, and then Randy Orton. Well, they teased right before Randy arrived into the match. They teased a cash-in because Damian Priest still had the Money in the Bank briefcase, and they were going to attempt to cash in on Seth Rollins. We have Miss Money in the Bank in this match. We have both women's champions in the match, surrounded by a cage. I don't. If the heels are going to win, Tiffany does not cash in.
Okay.
This is just my thought because at this point where Tiffany Stratton is, a cash in is basically turning face at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So unless she jumps ship and joins the other team or cashes in and just leaves, I don't see a cash in happening here, which is upsetting because this cash in needs to happen like a month ago.
Agreed.
I'm just saying. Anyone else have any thoughts on this match?
I think they're trying to like swerve us when the cash in is going to happen. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why they haven't done it yet. But they got to realize no one cares about. I mean, I respect Nia Jax for having improved a lot in her career, but she's a mid carder. She had the title run for long enough. Let her be the queen of the ring, and get her back to that mid card where she can work with the lesser talents and all that. And
Charlotte, don't you comes back?
It's just as for the match itself, the heel should win.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely at this point. Yeah.
Now, the question, though, is if presuming the heels win, which I think is a fair assumption here, let's get to just what's going to happen a little bit on the babyface side. Do we think there might be a little bit, because we all think it's going to happen sooner than later, something between Jade and Bianca? Do you think
that's why I'm saying? That's why I'm saying the heels would win, because I'm banking on that happening, and like someone to see the dissension as a part of the reason why the heels win. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense.
I think you can start it right here. I would also, you could start the little bickering back and forth, the miscommunications, and whatnot. They can start showing themselves. Come Raw on Netflix. You bring up Roxy Perez and Cora Jade, and they immediately take the belts off of those two. I could see that happening.
I mean, we already know they're doing the little bit of feuding with the New Day. They're doing a little bit of feuding with the DIY. Correct. So I mean, of the teams, honestly, that should break up. Well, New Day's old. They could break up because they're so old.
There's not someone old. New Day needs a third person, and they need a heel. They need to go back to being heels for a while.
Yeah.
And then neither is going to happen, because that means New Day should be done. There should be a legend tag team that we see when they all come out of retirement and do the New Day dance and beat up some young talent for put them over or whatever. There's no, unless they get a third guy in there and heel turn them, it's done.
Right. And Big E he's
not coming back.
I don't see it happening. I mean, I would love it
point
if he did.
No, he can't come back as a wrestler.
No.
Yeah. Manager maybe, but
he can be like a manager for a heel New Day or whatever.
Maybe.
Wow, they've been around. New Day's been around 10 years.
10 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and someone on someone on a previous show said that they were one of the worst actions ever. Been around for 10 years.
Remember, the New Day was a punishment.
It was.
And they got it over and impressed Vince. And that's why they got that run.
Yep. So now we come to the men's War Games match, because at first I thought 4-on-4 was going to be perfect. You got Roman, Usos, and Sammy versus Solo, the Tongans, and Jacob. You don't need to add anything else. But no, we got to add a fifth for this. So Solo added his fifth member, Sheik
Bronson Reed, the living natural disaster. No one could stop him.
Who delivered a tsunami to Roman Reigns, and it was glorious. I mean, for one, the building of Bronson Reed is no longer an attraction anymore. This guy is fastly becoming a star.
Yeah.
And now he is going to be in the main event of one of the big four premium live events. 2 years ago, McMahon fired him.
And you got to remember, because WWE mics over their crowds, you can hear the fans chanting on the tsunami, everyone in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
Like what faces, kills, whatever. They just want to see him smash people to shit.
He is the new monster among men.
Yeah.
I mean, Braun Strowman had that for a bit, but his character went sideways and became more of a joke comic character. And honestly, he thinned out a lot. Now, he looks a lot better than when he first showed up. But you need just like
the guy still can't.
No. But I mean, you need like you're saying, a force of nature. I mean, we had the hurricane. How many other storm fronts can we have? We had a hurricane. We had typhoon. We had an earthquake.
Tsunami.
we have Ice Age.
We have the Tsunami.
Tsunami. He's going to be Bronson Tsunami Reed.
So
Chic Reed, my friend.
So now this now caused the conversation of, well, who's going to be the fifth man for Roman? And because it was Bronson Reed, folks immediately went to, well, of course, it's going to be Seth Rollins. This past Monday on Raw, I believe the WWE told us that it's not going to be Seth Rollins.
I agree.
In a backstage segment with Usos and Sammy, where Sammy said, hey, we've all got beef with Roman. We're going to put aside our differences for a greater good. You did it last year. You stood with me and Jay. You put aside your differences with Cody Rhodes. All we're doing is asking you to do it one more time. And Seth Rollins said, I cannot do it I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, Sammy. I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, Jay. I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, Jimmy. If you are asking me to stand shoulder to shoulder with that tyrant, Roman Reigns, and help him re-grasp power, I cannot do it under any circumstances. And then he said this, even if it meant getting my hands on Bronson Reed inside of War Games, it's not worth it. Seth Rollins is not the fifth.
And when I heard that, I laughed. And that's the wrong one I typed. Seth Rollins was Plan B. He's the one who betrayed Roman Reigns and John Moxley and broke the field up and was a hated man. And for him to fictionally say, I still will always root for Roman Reigns over Seth Rollins because of that. Even if Roman is like Undertaker, Lord of Darkness evil, is like burning children on the street evil, I will still root for him over Seth Rollins because of what the betrayal of the Shield.
If anything, it should be Roman who's saying, I do not want Seth Rollins. Okay.
Yeah.
Goes, I mean, think about he betrayed the Shield. He won on the cash in. I mean, Seth is the betrayer god. And Roman may be the tyrant, but Seth broke it all up.
And also, Roman has never beat Seth clean. So
that's because there's nothing clean about Seth Rollins.
Well, there's that. So that leaves the question, and I did a video this morning because I heard of this from JD from New York after hearing one specific date, and I'm like, okay, now this is starting to make sense. The fifth man is going to be CM Punk.
Continue with the explanation, sir. I want to hear this,
sir.
Because I didn't get to see your video this morning.
I'm going to take you back to June 21st, 2024. SmackDown in Chicago. SmackDown in Chicago. CM Punk still on the mend. Opens another show. He is interrupted by Paul Heyman. This is when CM Punk says, "You right, Paul? You don't look so good." And Paul says, "I want you to do me a favor, please. Get out of town. Solo and the Bloodline are coming after you. And if you do me this favor, I'm doing you a favor, and in turn, if you'll do me a favor." Out comes Solo. Out comes the Tongans, because it's just three of them at this point. Solo says, either you acknowledge me, or we'll make sure you are never medically cleared to wrestle again. CM Punk looks at Paul and said, "Hey, Paul, what's that favor you wanted from me if I did this for you?"
This is funny.
And Paul says, funny. "Take me with you." And this is when Paul is not shaving. He hasn't slept. He purposely did not sleep for 2 days. He doesn't color of his hair. He looks disheveled.
He looks like a prisoner of war.
He looks, and because his character is terrified
Mhm.
of Solo and the Tongans. Punk then says,
sorry.
Punk then says, I acknowledge that you are not the tribal chief. What I see in front of me are two fake ass Usos and a wannabe cosplay tribal chief. Fast forward a few weeks. What happened to Paul? What happened to Paul Heyman?
He got taken out.
He got put through a table by the Tongans. He was Simone spiked by Solo and given a flying headbutt by Jacob Fatu. We saw the lengths what Punk would go to for a bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
You put your hands on Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is the bridge to get CM Punk to join Roman for no other reason. Punk has no love for Roman, none whatsoever, in or out of the ring.
Okay.
But you put your hands on Paul. That's why he shows up.
Okay. But I'm remembering that Roman did, he did the series called The Wise Man and phone disconnected, which would be really good to me if Paul Heyman was still kind of MIA, right?
Mm-hmm.
But didn't we just see him? Am I wrong? Didn't we just see him?
Paul does a lot of backstage stuff.
Right. Oh, I understand that, but I mean, for character wise,
we haven't seen him. Not since.
I thought.
Not since he got put through the table. He has been off TV.
Okay. Well, what was it that we saw with him and Steiner's kid?
Oh, that was from NXT.
Oh, okay. Okay.
NXT 2.0. That was a couple years ago.
That was all. Okay. That was all. Okay. Now, see, for some reason, I recently saw that. And I thought that was something that recently happened. So now it actually, okay. Now the story makes more sense.
If he appears to NXT, it's not a storyline appearance. It's you know what I mean? It's an NXT related appearance.
Mm-hmm.
It's not part of being the wise man or whatever. It's just him being a celebrity going to NXT to promote them.
Now, that's the why. That's the how. My next question is always, then what? Well, then what? Well, let's say hypothetically, Roman's team wins. Think of the bragging that CM Punk is going to do. Who did they need? Who did they call on in their time of need? The best in the world. Remember, CM Punk returned to the WWE last year at Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was very upset to hear his music and to see him there. That is one Seth Rollins. So, this is now. So now, you had your chance. You could have had the spotlight. You egomaniac. But no, you passed on it twice. And now you've got CM Punk, who is going to rub it in your face, and this will lead to a program where, because right before Punk took time off of not going to Saudi, Gunther, he's talking about. He's going to challenge maybe Netflix Raw. Seth Rollins cost him the match because he's jealous. Leads into a program going through the Rumble, and it ends up with the match we should have got last year, but due to injury, we couldn't. Only this time there's no title on the line. Just egos. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk.
You know what we need to do when Joker starts doing this? We need to get the clip from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Charlie Day has the wall and all the conspiracy theories and connecting it all together because he just put together a freaking storyline.
Pepe
It
Le
kinda
Silva.
makes
I got
sense.
it.
I mean,
Yes.
Kinda makes sense.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the problem to me is I want the heels to win the Survivor Series match.
Now,
So-
my only reservation with this entire story, with this entire line of thought is, what was CM Punk's last match?
That was
I can't remember that.
Claymore dude. Drew.
Drew McIntyre.
Hell in a Cell. Hell in a
Yeah.
Cell.
Oh, yeah.
So his last match on TV was Hell in a Cell. His first match back is going to be War Games.
War Games.
I mean, that's an ass.
He's a specialist in those matches, and that's all he ever does. Like
Right.
everything wants to do a Hell in a Cell for a game. You know?
Actually, true.
All right, so
Hey, wait, there's
What?
one more question to ask though.
okay,
About Survivor Series.
okay.
Will The Rock show up?
I
was gonna ask that too, man.
Who knows? Who knows?
I mean, his movie kind of tanked.
Kind of tanked.
He gonna be there promoting his
Well,
movie.
wait, I'm sorry. I just saw a Collider article that said it's Amazon's third biggest movie, and I'm like, how do you all do math?
Yeah,
It wasn't
going to
a
be
simultaneous
available.
like theater / streaming release.
No, it was supposed to be direct to streaming, but Dwayne, in his brilliant mind, said,
Yeah.
"Let's throw it into theaters."
But holy,
You're never winning
guys.
that.
You gotta
You'll never
love
win
Collider. I mean, this is the title of the article. Red One is already Amazon MGM's third biggest global box office hit ever.
That's frightening.
That's some glizzy shining right there.
84 million worldwide.
Well,
You know what-
considering Amazon MGM is a recent thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna get blown out by Dear Santa anyway. So I don't know. what
It's
you're
gonna
talking about.
get
You-
blown out. It's gonna get blown out by. It's gonna get blown out, which comes out next week. Moana 2.
Oh,
Yeah, I forgot about which is weird. He
well,
wouldn't.
he can make money off that.
Which is weird. Isn't he in that movie too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
As a voice.
That
And,
is
and,
wild.
and that's the cartoon one. He's going to be in the live action one too.
Correct.
Actually, it just
But-
looks like they're rocking a bad wig.
But Red One is also through his production company too.
Yep.
whatever you want about The Rock as a human being, he's generally speaking, even if the movie itself sucks, he's usually entertaining in his roles.
No, it's not.
You know, I like his always
Ooh,
play that same character type of stuff.
Matt, I got a
No.
question. Best acting you've seen The Rock do. Just give me a movie off the top of your
The
head.
best
That is
movie or the
entertaining.
best acting role he did?
The most entertaining in his role that you
Oh.
Skyscraper.
Oh,
That's-
really?
honestly,
that movie.
I would go with Central Intelligence.
Okay.
By the way, for
That's-
Skyscraper, you know how for the World War II veterans, when they saw Saving Private Ryan, the beach opening, it brought them into the beach for the first, like no other movie ever did.
Mhm.
The CGI was so good on Skyscraper that it triggers my fear of heights every single time I watch the movie.
Okay.
Like I freeze up. Like if I was standing at the edge of like an open window like that, I would freeze up. You have to pull me back. I wouldn't be able to move. Like
I would say that I'd put anything Batista has done over The Rock at this point.
Batista's small scene in the new Blade Runner movie was better than anything The Rock did.
Thank you. I take it. I will say even him in I Spy, this first 4
the
seconds
best
don't
movie
matter. Was
for Batista was the Kung Fu film with Russell Crowe and what the fuck was it called?
Oh, what is that?
The Golden Arms.
Go.
Oh, I
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I just
I mean,
don't-
Russell Crowe stole the movie by going over the top with that role. Like, with,
Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
curious now.
Okay.
So-
I'm sorry. I got confused with most entertaining with best acting. That's my bad. My fault.
Okay, so real quick, one more topic before we get into our top 10, and right before we do this, we have
5.
5. Ooh, 5.
top 5. Yeah, top 5. Five. Anyway, I want to thank everyone who is in the chat and watching. Be sure to look down below in the description for everyone's links. Follow on social media. Check out their YouTube channels, and of course,
I'd say you better subscribe or we'll bash in some skulls, right?
thank you, Harley, once again. So one more thing before we get into our top fives is we were also given the announcement of a women's mid-tier title, the Women's United States Championship. Now, last week we were all under the assumption that this was going to be a floating title. Well, based on the bracket here, I don't think so. This is going to be exclusively a SmackDown title with the winner to be crowned at Saturday night's main event. And then also on Raw this past week, we were also given two vignettes, which were actually very well done, by a vignette of Lyra Valkyria and one of Dakota Kai. So I would expect to see the announcement of a women's intercontinental championship very, very soon.
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with it too.
You need mid-card titles. You need mid-card titles for the mid-card to exist.
Correct.
Yeah, but the problem is, do we have enough talented women to fill the mid-card?
You will over the course of the next year.
Good point. Next year, we will. Because I don't think, I'm of the mind now, after just watching everything, all the stuff that Jordynne Grace has been doing with NXT, that has been her NXT run. I could see her easily going up to the main roster from the start, and I would bring up and like I said, I would bring up Sol Ruka, I would bring up Roxy, Cora immediately, and let Stephanie, Julia, and Zarya just run havoc down there in Orlando for the next year.
There's a couple other good talents down there, that'll be good mid-card talents when they come up.
Yeah.
My prediction was that Jordan comes up to WWE as a WWE wrestler in Women's Royal Rumble. So I think we're heading for that.
Okay, so here we go. Our top fives, and we're going with the top 5 worst WWE tag teams of all time. There are a lot of them.
Didn't we kind of do this once before?
No.
Not worst tag teams.
What did we do before?
Intercontinental.
No, we did best and worst factions.
Okay.
So, Ego, I'm going to start with you.
All right.
Your number 5 worst tag team of all time.
5 worst. So for me, I've got Men on a Mission, 1990.
Oh, wow. You're a mom.
I was looking for it, I forgot it. And the only reason is I was like, damn, that's Viscera. I was like, yo, that's Viscera.
Wow.
So that's what I remember. It was a house show.
I should have put him on my list.
Viscera literally just, I don't even he just falls on the guy, and because of his sheer size, he can't kick out of a 3 count, which is hilarious. They win the title, only to lose it 2 days later to the Corvette. It's
You're gonna be great, pal. You're gonna be a champion, pal.
Oh man, it's a house show too big to fail. Literally had me in stitches. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's my number 5.
All right, Brad, you're number 5.
WWE Tag Team Champions, Braun Strowman and Nicholas.
We said that was not allowed.
That has to be allowed. How can you not allow that?
I had that on my list too, man.
All right, fine. Strowman and Nicholas.
I think I'll point this out. They have to be allowed because they won the belt.
All right, fine.
They won the belt. And it's a freaking shame, and I don't need to explain it. But that's why I actually put it at number 5, because I couldn't ignore it. I made it totally fine with Men on a Mission as well. That's terrible too. But
Men on a Mission, Nicholas and Braun Strowman. 6'10", 330 pounds.
Was
and
Nicholas a cancer kid or something?
He was just a 10-year-old.
I thought he was a producer's kid or something.
I think so.
Oh.
Nepotism.
Like I could see a terminal cancer and they let him win to go
I'll make
for
a
a week
wish,
or whatever.
kid. Like,
Yeah.
I'll
So
was
like
okay with
Connor's
that.
cure, like Connor's
Yeah.
cure or something.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, you're number 5.
The only one that's included number 1 on my list is the number 1, which we'll get there. So I mean, I you know what? I'm gonna make it easy. I'm gonna say Man on a Mission as well because they're in that bottom 4 for me of not number 1. And
Okay.
this team was so heinous. It's a pure Vinceism. He's like, you can get 2 black guys, put them in rainbow outfits. What do you mean they can't wrestle? Who cares? Just let them do stuff in the ring. You know.
It's gonna be great, pal.
You know, and the amount of people that Viscera hurt, and Vince still, he's lucky to be alive. But supposedly the Undertaker wanted to kill him at several points. You know, and he's oh my god, they were horrible.
My number 5, the Rock and Sock connection.
How dare you?
It was awful. If for nothing else, just the cucking of Mankind. He was such a Rock suck up, just the glazing. Every time they were on the screen cutting a promo, I'm watching it and I'm like, dear God, just drop to your knees and blow him, which is probably what Vince wanted to do himself.
And you know, to add on to that, I would have been more okay with Rock and Sock Connection if it was Dude Love and not Mankind.
Right.
The persona would have flipped the Rock and Sock Connection.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly.
Before we go any further, I have an actual question that relates to possibly my rankings. When you say tag teams, are teams that are only 2? Because there are some tag teams that actually had 3, like New Day was a tag team.
Rule. Right.
Okay. Okay. We're going Freebirds. That's fine. Okay. Then I can keep going.
If anyone puts Freebirds on this list, I will reach out through the screen, ring style, pull you into a well and drown you.
Yes.
I put the Thunderbirds on there. Is that okay?
No. All right, Ego, you're number 4.
Number 4, I've got basically what Brad said, Braun Strowman and Nicholas. What kind of Make-A-Wish shit is this? I actually thought the kid was dying. Y'all said he's nothing wrong with him. I'm like,
the audience died.
Yeah, I'm like, the hell, man. So yeah, just for no other reason why it was a 9-year-old that was in the ring for no reason, and then he's got a tag team belt. Stop. It was too much.
All righty. Mr. Brad, you're number 4.
And this is one I've talked about before. I think we've all talked about before, and the Freebird rule applies. It is the Spirit Squad. Why, oh, why did this ever exist? They had the belts. The only thing that came out of it was Dolph Ziggler.
Correct.
I mean, they had dog food. Was it dog food? There's supposed to be puke dropped on them. I mean, and like I said before, like them facing off against DX actually diminished DX.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Matt, you're number 4.
Okay, so you guys probably heard a theme. I hate wrestlers whose gimmick is a toned down version of another wrestler's gimmick. Like I always call the Usos the discount Young Bucks. You know,
Okay.
I don't mind stealing gimmicks. Like the Nature Boys steal their gimmicks all the time, and take it and do something with it. You know, don't take it and just distill it down. Well, these 2 guys are one of the earliest tag teams. I know when you go back on wrestling, you'll find this decade by decade. But at the time these guys came around, I had not watched a lot of like 50s and 60s wrestling, right? So I hate what they call mosh and thrash. The
headbangers. Headbangers.
I hated them. I was like, did they take like a mix of the British Bulldogs and the Rockers and the Mounties and make it all worse? Like, and a special gimmick of throwing up on people. Remember the awesome gimmick?
The audience loved them. That was the worst part.
Yeah, I know. Oh, there's a lot of time fans will cheer for stuff that ultimately they hate, but when they see, you know, I'm not saying that Mosh and Thrash were bad in as wrestlers. They're not. They're decent wrestlers. Okay, not great wrestlers, but they're safe in the ring and all that sort of stuff. So, but their gimmick and the way they portrayed it was so horrible. And Keita, it's one of my pet peeves of wrestling. When you're going to steal a gimmick, you take it and you do something with it, you know?
Correct.
Or like Kane took the Undertaker gimmick to his own level, his own place, you know? Or,
Gotcha.
you know, on and on, you know what I mean? You know, Braun Strowman, not Braun Strowman, my brain, sorry, I'm the medications are kicking in right now. Anyway, so that's my number 4.
Okay. My number 4. We're going to the golden age of wrestling. Luke and Butch, the Bushwhackers.
Oh, wow.
And
That was another one that was. Oh, that was another.
that's another
They remind me of
team.
the Headbangers too.
That's another team that the Headbangers stole from.
Yep.
You know? Although in
And-
defense of Luke, those guys, Vince got them after their bodies had been destroyed in
Right.
international hardcore wrestling.
And
Just
they
like the
were
Great Khali, right?
they
The
were
Great Khali was by been destroyed by
Mhm.
they were purely a comedic act, and their finisher was the battering ram, where Butch would take Luke's head, rub it up, and then they would just run into someone.
Didn't he lick his head too a lot?
There's a lot of
Yeah.
head licking.
That's weird.
That's from where they come from. That's a gimmick and all that.
Yeah.
That's country wrestling.
Yeah, so that's my number 4. Now we're into number 3. Ego, you're number 3.
All right, I'm gonna go with Nexus. I know that there was Nexus and New Nexus. I'm talking about the one with David Otunga and Michael McGillicuddy.
Oh,
This one lasted a day, and then it was supposed to be fomenting a breakup. So they lost to Kofi Kingston and Evan Burney.
Evan
Bourne. Oh wow, Bourne. Yeah, whatever. That sounds even worse. Jesus. Yeah, I don't like 1-day champs, regardless of
No.
circumstance. I can't stand that. So anytime someone's a 1-day champ, you're gonna wind up on my list in any
Okay.
regard.
Also, Michael McGillicuddy was Mr. Perfect Jr.
Right. Curtis
Really?
Axel.
Yeah.
Curtis Axel.
Damn, man.
At least he got a better gimmick then.
Okay.
All right, Brad, you're number 3.
Oh, Freebirds again. And I've called them out before. This is Mexicools.
Oh.
I mean, I know we talked about this before in factions. It is this is a
classic
Vinnie
Vince
Mac special.
Vince McMahon, we got puppies, we got bra panty matches, and
We got illegal
racism.
aliens. We got illegal
Racism.
aliens
John,
coming across the
we got some
border
Mexican wrestlers,
to guard in our
John,
house.
put them on a team and call them the Mexicools. Yeah.
It'll be great, pal.
Hey guys, don't forget. WWE CEO got named as education secretary. So I mean, I didn't know Vince was such into education. I'm very excited about this to see where John Laurinaitis goes. But, oh, that would be called jail, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that.
I don't need to say anything else. It's the fucking Mexicools. And was it Juventud? Which was the one that was kicked off? It was Juventud, wasn't it?
Juventud.
And
Yeah, because he went
and
nuts.
The Mexicools were legit talented wrestlers. That
Psychosis.
That was the worst part.
Psychosis, Juventud, and Super Crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, you're
Ego,
number
if you
3.
have, by the way, Ego, if you want to see some matches, go watch Tajiri versus Super Crazy in ECW. You'll see some matches.
Oh yeah.
Bro, can you please DM me that? I know I'm gonna misspell that.
Do not watch what they do in WWF. Oh,
Yeah, please make sure you.
There is no
please
such
check
thing as
out ECW.
WWECW. No such thing.
Nope. Despite what anyone says. Okay, Matt, you're number 3.
Number 3, well, this is an easy one for me. Legion of Doom 2.0.
Oh, no.
Hawkeye
I
Panther.
saw that.
I didn't crap, you know.
Heidenreich, I think his name.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't crap. When they brought that thing out, and there are times when you could retool. Like a long time ago, there was a tag team called the Skyscrapers in
Right.
WCW, and when
The Twin Towers.
which was Big Danny Spivey and Sid. And when one of them got hurt, Mean Mark came in for a while, and you had 2 other Skyscrapers. That works, you know. When you take a horrible wrestler, Heidenreich, who does not fit the Legion of Doom's persona,
Nope.
and dump him into the Legion of Doom, and the worst thing is, it's not even the real Legion of Doom; it's Vince's version of Legion of Doom.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
And I believe And I believe for a brief time, John Laurinaitis was part of that as well.
Yep. And then I think they actually lost to the Mexicans.
Yeah. So for my number three, Matt, I'm with you on your number 4. Was the Headbangers. Just a mess. They were an absolute fucking mess. And just got awful and just made heavy metal folks look stupid. And I'm the metalhead, so I did not like the portrayal of my people there. All right, Ego, you're number 2.
You know what, guys, I'm gonna go incredibly off script for the worst tag team title champions. I'm gonna say Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill.
Wow,
we have the same mind.
Wait, this wasn't champions. This is just tag teams, right?
Tag teams, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. Did we just cross to the mirror universe?
I think we
No,
did.
we're not. No, we're not. We're not. It's just. I'm.
Is this Red Eye Humboldt talking?
Red Eye Humboldt.
This is midline Marcus. Okay, just I'm working on things. Okay?
It's the third personality.
I'm only gonna fight so much on this. Okay. I'm only saying this because. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What?
We're learning so much.
Ego, you're fine. But they're my number. Ego, they're my number 2 as well. You're fine.
I feel like a proud dad. I feel like a proud dad here.
I looked at it, I'm just like this. I'm looking at some of the worst tag teams, and I'm like, I can give a few of them a pass because even though they were kind of lovable losers, they're great on the mic, or hey, they're great in ring, or hey, I know that one of you is clearly a star and the other is helping you get to where you want to be. I'm 0 for 3 when I try to describe Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Not technically Bianca Belair because she's been a champion. She's great in the ring, decent on the mic, and is professional in the ring. Jade Cargill is 0 for 3 and is thus an albatross on his tag team. So something that's inaugural, something that's supposed to hold significant weight. The first women's championship belt that wasn't the women's SmackDown or Raw championship, you put on someone that's really great, went to the farming system at NXT, has been a champion a few times over with the rookie who is entitled and doesn't do the work. It's different if it's one thing to be talented. It's a whole other thing to be talented and put in the work. You're unstoppable if you can do those things. Jade is talented. I don't see the work. Hey, you want to be a cosplayer? That's fine. That's cool. You look great. You're my best version of Storm I've ever seen for X-Men. If you ever want to leave and be in the MCU for Marvel, I can see where that comes from. That's fine.
Can't talk. How could she?
Well, that's the thing. It's like I'm seeing her figure, her physique, but I need the person that originally voiced Storm to talk over her. So we're gonna dub her. Like you're great, just don't talk. You know, I'm saying this because for something that's supposed to be so important.
I feel so proud.
I'm sorry. It's for something that's so important. And for something that you should be, okay, you're not lovable losers because you're too popular. You need to be great on the mic. Only one of you is great on the mic. Are you great in the ring? Well, one of us is. Okay, cool. For how long? Like, I can carry everything. All right, so how long is she in? 5 minutes. Okay, like, is she like the high energy person? No, not really. Is she incredibly athletic? What's her finisher? She does the LL Cool J shit. And then there's a pin. I can't find anything. I tried to kick them off the list, and the more I tried, the further down they went. I started at 5, now we're at 2. Okay, and I'll give a reason for number 1, but for this reason, like I can't. They're the worst because they're gonna have better versions of the tag team titles after this, and we're gonna memory hole them. And y'all are never gonna let me forget it because I'm gonna try to memory hole it, and you're not gonna let me. So for that reason, Jade and Bianca is number 2.
Brad, I think we could just like stop the show right now.
Well, I'm obviously we have a couple more here, and before I give my number 2, I would just like to recall that one of the predictions. So remember, we're making predictions for the rest of the year. I think someone on this panel, a very handsome young attorney, made a prediction that someone would turn heel on Jade. I wonder what that person was. I got to go back and find this clip. I'll watch everything.
He got the script. It's fine.
I think every one
I
of
just
us
want to
made
find that.
prediction. Just
In
some
fact,
of
it
us more
happened.
violently than others.
It was way earlier than I thought it would
Yes.
happen. I predicted like by like December, and he was like there in like I think it was
Last
like my
month.
first. Yeah,
Last month or so.
it was probably before I evacuated from Milton.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, no
Yeah,
loyalty.
I think I have Bianca murdering Jade in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
You know what though? Ego. Despite all that, I just want to say, you look so good to me, Billy and Chuck.
Blah.
Why? We've talked about it before. This was Vince. I mean, whatever you think about Gabe, I don't give a shit.
Don't
It
care.
was so offensive and bad.
Yeah.
And then the fake wedding. Oh God. And Billy Gunn actually could wrestle somewhat.
Yeah.
But wow. What? We thought Vince lost his mind in 2019. Holy crap.
It started way before.
Yeah.
All right, so Matt, I assume from hearing of you earlier, you are also with Ego on this one. Bianca and Jade.
I mean,
number.
like I told you guys, my number one is clear and far and away the number one, and the other four were just 4 out of like 20 or 30 I was thinking of.
Gotcha.
I could have rotated someone else in for one of these spots, but here with Jade Cargill and Bianca, not only is all the stuff Ego said, there are a couple legit decent women's tag teams out there.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green and Piper, who are phenomenally talented wrestlers, they don't get any screen time. All these other, can I say it? Call them hobags? I mean, I hate them. I hate watching half of the female wrestlers that have wrestled, and you see Chelsea and Piper and Io and Kari and a couple of others get no screen time with all these atrocious windbags that can't wrestle.
Yeah.
I mean, surprisingly enough, probably to one of the best teams is Katana Chance and Caden Carter.
Yeah.
They're good. So my number 2, they were supposed to be the hot thing coming out of NXT to hit the main roster and just never got their footing at all. The Ascension.
Oh wow.
A bad Legion of Doom. That was their
Yep.
gimmick. That's really
Well,
all it is.
you're correct, Joker. But the problem with them is for their gimmick to work, it has to be a Undertaker style gimmick, and
Right.
Vince was not allowing their gimmick to work, so
No,
they were dead in arrival.
correct.
And they one of the first time that people started saying, "I'd rather stay in NXT than come up to WWE." But right around when they come,
Correct. So they were at number 2. All right, Ego, you're number 1. Let's hear it.
Number 1. I must have missed this because my number 1 is John Cena and Shawn Michaels.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if this is during the Super Cena run or something like that. They said it was something like that, but if I'm remembering this correctly, or if I'm seeing this correctly, WrestleMania 23 is supposed to be Shawn Michaels v. John Cena. So before WrestleMania 23, they put them as tag team partners, and instead of showing more of the strife and the beef and the tension for a lead up into WrestleMania 3, they actually wind up winning the titles. And I think John Cena's like a double champ or something like that. And then they held it for
John.
Wait, no, they lose. They lost it the night after WrestleMania 23. So it boggles my mind where you'd have these guys that are rivals. I get it. You're trying to build tension. Fine, to force them to work together. But to give them the titles, then have the one-on-one event, and then they have to go back and defend the titles after the beef that they had, and they drop the strap. Like, it's too convoluted, and it's just giving accolades to kind of pad a resume when you don't really need to do it at all. It's I'm confused. And besides, Shawn Michaels is one of my favorite wrestlers, so a 1v1 match with Shawn Michaels would be all you need for me. Not I'm a tag team title with you, and I gotta wrestle you. Then we gotta do defend the titles the next time. That's way too complicated for me. So that's number one for me.
All right, Brad, you're number one.
So mine is a result of a going down a rabbit hole and looking for WWE tag teams, because I could easily name the best ones, but like for the worst, I like Billy and Chuck stuck out of my mind, Braun and Nicholas, but I'm like, I want to really find something that's awful, and I found a team that I apparently entirely forgot about. I think everyone has forgotten about. It's called the Dicks.
No, I don't remember them.
Wow.
So these are two guys who were what were they called in they were at Ohio Valley. The Blonde Bombers. They were like legit. They were, and they looked real. They like fit the Vinnie Mac mold. They were well built. And one actually kind of looked like
They had another
one
gimmick that people remember them more as like 2011.
They weren't with WWE at that point, from what I could tell. They were out at that point. They lasted 5 months as WWE, and they were basically like Chippendale dancers.
Right.
Yeah.
So and one of them actually reminds me of like a really bulked up Joey Tribbiani from Friends. But these guys, I mean, like this is how Vinnie Mac just wastes talent. You develop these guys down in OVW, they become champions, they get momentum going, they got a great look, and then you saddle them as freaking strippers.
Oh yeah.
And it ruined these guys. And it's like I say it's worst tag team, because like it ruined them for wrestling. I mean, and again, this is only because I actually looked into it. I'm like, yeah, I could say this team, but it's like, it's not just the worst. I feel bad for these guys. And I don't remember them. I just feel bad they got fucked over by Vince.
All right, Matt, you're number one.
So I made no bones about it. One of my top 5 favorite tag teams of all time is Harlem Heat. Okay.
Oh no.
Awesome.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
technically, this team it's the WCW team. It came at the end. Harlem Heat 2.0.
Oh no.
Far and away the worst tag team of all time. So for those who don't know the story, in real life, Booker T and Stevie had fallen apart, so to speak, right? And Stevie, apparently, from my understanding of it, was even he didn't start the problem. He was the more reprehensible of the two in never being able to resolve the problem to 15 or 20 years later, right? So fast forward to WCW when Ahmad Johnson got cut by Vince, and Stevie said, "Hey, let's start Harlem Heat 2.0 with Ahmad Johnson."
Yeah.
God.
Wow, that is awful.
It was atrocious. Like Stevie Ray and Booker had perfect timing together. They had the personality. It worked. And sometimes when something is rent asunder, I talked about before. Sometimes you can get a replacement guy like when he brought Mean Mark into the Skyscrapers, or or what's the third guy into Demolition and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
You can get a guy who comes in and continues it along, right? This was the exact opposite of that. Like if they had gotten, I don't know, a decently talented black wrestler, who would be around at the time? Whatever. The point I'm saying is someone decently talented.
Ron Simmons, for God's sakes.
Well, he was under contract with the.
I know, but just like hire him, whatever.
The point I'm making is Ahmed Johnson was not the guy.
No.
He is
No.
Viscera is a better wrestler than Ahmed Johnson.
And that's
And not only that, but for what Harlem Heat, they were poetry in motion to watch in the ring with their gimmick. They were perfect. Like the only tag teams I rank with them would be like the Steiner brothers, before the Roids, the Freebirds, On and Oli,
right.
Brothers Destruction. Those are my 5 favorite, roughly speaking. And just the Harlem Heat 2.0 come out and not even be like even 1/100 as good as Harmony, right? You know what I mean? To be, they were, as soon as you brought this up, I was like, the first thing that came to mind, number one, has to be Harmony 2.0. Has to be.
All right. My number one is also a 2.0. The Rockers 2.0.
Oh,
God.
wow.
Marty Jannetty and Leif Garrett. They tried to replace Shawn Michaels, and let's just say they failed
Ugh.
miserably.
Well, not only that, Joker, one of the reasons they failed is because if we did a list of the top 5 like most significant heel turns of all time,
Shawn Michaels
the
is one of
Rockers
them.
is going to be like number one is going to be Hollywood Hogan. You know,
Right,
number 2,
but it's near the top.
Yeah, it's in
near
that
the
top
top.
5 list. You know,
Right.
so to do a 2.0 of that, you have to have something comparable to that, like something. You know what I mean?
Right. And it just didn't work. Okay, so because we had a lot of we had very few crossover here, but we did get it. But
You said Leif Garrett.
whatever his name was.
Yeah, but Leif Garrett was a singer. I went like, wait a minute. I know what you meant. It's just
Leif
that
something.
was funny.
I don't
It
know
was
his
Leif.
name.
I checked. It was Leif Cassidy. But
Leif
like
Cassidy.
Leif Garrett was a singer. I'm
Close
messed
enough.
up.
That's how much I don't
Sorry.
care.
I know. Still
Okay.
right.
So
Like, are you still tabulating, Joker?
no.
Well, I'm gonna follow up
I'm
so
already done.
you at the Rockers. They even did Marty Jannetty's revenge on Shawn Michaelson very well.
Correct.
So the storyline was over, and they still went Rockers 2.0.
Correct.
Oh my God, this can't be right.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Al Snow? It was Al Snow.
Oh, that's right. It was.
Yeah.
It was Al
Yeah.
Snow.
Holy shit.
Okay. So we had a big long tie for third, so we're not going to do that. But number 2 was 6 points was the Mexicools. And number 1, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill.
It hurts, but it's appropriate. It's taking medicine, guys.
Now the worm has turned.
Next week,
Wow.
we're going with the top 5 best tag teams of all time. That's going to be
Well, you guys might have got spoiled on my top 5 are.
We since just throwing this out there, I don't want to mess up the show, but since it is Thanksgiving next week, you could go with best Survivor Series and Survivor Series. Just saying.
No.
Well, we should still talk about Survivor Series since it is a Thanksgiving tradition.
So we're going to.
Okay.
Definitely. All right. Ego, what do you got planned?
All right, so I will be on a stream with John A. Douglas talking some comics and why men don't read. Also, I kicked up a shitstorm according to the How to Train Your Dragon reaction post. So I'm actually going to make a video about it, guys. You know what?
I'm guessing you're racist.
Okay, you know, actually, it's actually in the opposite direction. Apparently, I'm a black white supremacist because I'm going to make a video of the top 5 reasons that Ryan Gosling should be the next Black Panther. Fuck it.
There you go.
Wow.
All right, Brad. What do you got coming up?
I will be on the weekend pregame tomorrow night. We start at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Static 2020 channel. Otherwise, I actually put out videos on my channel. So go watch some of those. I actually have some that I have to finish editing because Doctor Who is a god-awful mess. But instead of a god-awful mess, Google the following: 765874 unification. It is a Star Trek. It's Star Trek, and it's just lovely. It's just lovely. Go watch. I'm going to talk about it later.
All right, Matt, what do you got coming up?
Well, I'll just hang out in rehab, and if Roman had a little slot open tomorrow, I might drop in.
Gotcha.
Also, on follow up on Doctor Who, they're taking some more episodes out of the streaming rotation in certain countries. For those who don't know, the rights, like a lot of times, But when you're a writer for Doctor Who, you'd write a Doctor Who novel and invent a character or concept, and then use it in the show and pay your royalties. Well, like the Daleks are owned by Terry Nation, not by Doctor Who, for example. They're the biggest one. There's a lot of other little examples of that, and I said that the rumor is that some of those rights have expired for some of those streaming episodes. So just make sure you keep getting your Blu-rays of Doctor Who, and you know, 'cause if you depend on streaming to watch the good Doctor Who, which is the old series, you're gonna lose out.
All right. As for me, you can catch me tomorrow night on with Roman of the Empire for our Friendsgiving show. But you will also catch us all next week, right back here. Wednesday night is Overbooked. Until then, folks, have a great rest of your week. Keep talking, keep having fun, keep smiling, and toodles.